Hi there, class. I didn't record any anecdotes last week, so I wanted to record some now for both last week and this week. So here are some stories that would relate to the content from the last 2 weeks. So with regard to smart power grids, we talk a lot about power grids in this class and how it connects to a variety of different sustainability benefits. But I also wanted to talk briefly about some of the drawbacks that can come from it. So one of them is that it provides a universal mechanism for tracking people as they go about their lives, because wherever you're drawing power from, it becomes possible to identify that you are there and you are drawing power from it, which has a real challenge. Right now, one of the nice things about the global power grid, or at least the power grid in the US, is that people can get power in lots of different places. That you can just sort of wander into a room, plug your computer in, plug your phone in, and charge. And you don't necessarily need to reveal your location to any kind of broad system when you do that. So one of the challenges of power grids is that they also provide a centralized way of tracking people as they go about their life, and they make it harder for people who are sort of on the edges of society to access power, which makes an already difficult life sometimes harder. So I just wanted to mention that there are some challenges that go along with smart power grids. The second story I wanted to talk about is about the computing within limits field. So this field came about, and we'll be talking about it. We talk about it a bit in some of the lectures. This came about by 3 different groups of people coming together. So one was myself and my collaborators here at UCI. There were 3 or 4 of us who were thinking about these ideas. And then Daniel and Tessie Pargman, 2 professors from Sweden, came to visit our lab for their sabbatical. So they were here with us for a year. And they and their colleague Alina Eriksson were a group that was working on similar concepts. And then Bharath Raghavan, who was at Berkeley and then came down to University of Southern California, was a third person working in this domain. And so we all got together about 10 years ago and started this field because we felt like it was a set of topics that were not being addressed effectively within the mainstream of computing research. Most computing research is very deeply embedded in corporate capitalist models where what we're trying to do is to make systems that make more money. And that isn't universally true, but generally there is a sense that we're trying to make products that will make Facebook better or that will make more mobile phones be able to be sold. And so computing within limits pushes back against some of those presumptions. And so I just wanted to mention that was how it started. There was also a postdoc named Birgit Penzenstadler who came and was also part of the early people there. So this third story I want to tell is about undesign. And this is a topic that I'm sort of conflicted on because in my gut, I'm a techno-optimist. Ultimately, I'm a computing professor. I feel in my heart that like if I can just code up the right system, it'll fix things. But I also have a rational recognition that more technology is not always better. And so this is sort of a conflict that I have within myself. On the one hand, feeling like, if only we had the right technology, everything would be okay. But recognizing the technology is often part of the problem and makes the problem worse rather than fixing it. So I don't have a clear answer there. I just wanted to present undesign as one of the topics of this class so that you don't come away from this feeling like technology is automatically the right solution to every problem. Sometimes technology is the problem and we need to extract it from a system. So the next topic is digital persuasion that I wanted to talk about. So any powerful technology can be used for harm as well as for good. And so my hope is that digital persuasion would allow people to become persuaded to live more sustainably, to shift the way that infrastructures and institutions and societies operate, and to persuade people to have the world that they support align with their values. But I think there is also a challenge because digital persuasion also has the opposite effect, that any technologies we can use to persuade people to live more sustainably can also be used to help people feel bad about their lives and that they need to buy more products. And so this goes back to really one of my favorite quotes from that I also said in the opening video. And it's from the National Academies report in 2012. I think it was 2012. that sustainability is not, at its root, a technical problem, nor will merely technical solutions be sufficient. Instead, deep economic, political, and cultural adjustments will ultimately be required. And I feel like that's an important theme for this class, is that while we are here talking about technology, really technology is an enabler of human initiatives. And it's what those human initiatives are doing that is really what matters deeply. So what our economic models, what our political models, and what our cultural models are, really are at the heart of what the issue is with sustainability. And so the final story I wanted to talk about is digital governance. I've been thinking a lot about the role that AI can play in governance in my research. And two of my collaborators and I recently wrote a paper that I wanted to mention briefly. The topic was AI as apex collaborator. Essentially, you probably are familiar with the term apex predator, where it is an entity, a species that eats lots of different other species and therefore shapes that ecosystem based on their presence, because they cause many other species to be kept in check or to constrain their behavior. So we are instead thinking about AI as an apex collaborator, basically a computational system with capabilities for cooperation and partnership that are superior in at least some ways to those of humans. And so if you have an interest in this, I encourage you to go look up AI as apex collaborator. You might be interested in that paper. But that's not required for the class. It's just a thing if that's something that sounds interesting to you. Okay, well, thank you very much. Hope you have a good couple of weeks. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.